Ha! What's going on, guys? Sorry about that. Life, family, and things like that. But anyways, let's get down to it. Welcome to the episode 10 of the Streamline Podcast. In this video, we're going to be talking about the best of what Dragon Ball Z has to offer the world. Now, Dragon Ball Z is my favorite, and I know I've said this in the original video I had to cut, but I'm saying it again because consistency. But Dragon Ball Z is actually one of my favorite anime franchises, and it is the franchise that got me into anime, as well as most of the Western world. It's great, has an interesting story. DBZ essentially is about this character named Goku, who ends up finding out that he is a humanoid alien, and has to defend the Earth against various threats, whether it be supernatural, whether it be otherworldly, whether it actually be on the planet Earth. And it's actually a great, engaging, and awesome series. Now, it is hailed as one of the best anime series of all time, as well as what could be considered the Big Five. But with time, newer ones are going to come out and everything. But anyways, Dragon Ball Z has managed to stand against the test of time, and it's still a great and awesome experience. Now, in this video, when I mean the best of Dragon Ball Z, we're going to talk about different mediums that the series is actually been in, such as the movies, such as the anime, such as the manga, such as the video games. And I just want to talk about all my favorites of each one of these. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this video. Right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and say Dragon Ball Z, the series. Of course, it's a great action-packed anime. You got Goku and friends who having to save Earth and the universe against all of these various villains. And right off the bat, I mean, it's a great story. It has a lot of action. It has a lot of humor. It has a lot of moving moments, too, despite the tone. It does touch on certain themes here and there, especially when it comes to death and acceptance of that, as well as perseverance. And I just love that theme, that kid-friendly theme that extended from its the first series of Dragon Ball, which is just as great. Yeah, initially it is somewhat episodic in its episodes, but as it continues on, the stories become more refined, more extensive, introducing new characters that actually have depth to them, especially the main bad guys. But essentially, Dragon Ball follows Goku when he's a kid, and Dragon Ball Z is when he's an adult. So the story just one big story following this one character. Kind of like how Star Wars, the 6 movies are basically about Anakin / Vader. But anyways, like I said, I love those anime series. Now, I really want to put Dragon Ball Super on this list because there's a lot about it that I do like, and kind of direction and expansion of the actual lore. I kind of like that, but there are some things about it that I don't like as much. Maybe I can show that in a review or something. And hopefully, when the series comes to the end and I can watch the series in its entirety, I can actually throw it on this list. But as of now, I can't really do that. Now, you're gonna jump over to the movies. I love about half of the DBZ animated movies. I think they're pretty cool and they're interesting concepts. Though at times there are some of the movies kind of lackluster. But I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about my favorites. First of all, I love Tree of Might. You got this evil version of Goku comes to Earth and is trying to do all types of crazy stuff. But the Z Fighters actually had to rise up together to stop him. One of the most standout aspects of this movie is the fact that all of the Z Fighters are here. They're all fighting. They're all trying to do their best to protect the world. And I like that. I like to see that. We don't really see that in the anime or in any of the other movies. So that what makes that moment right there, and that aspect makes this movie stand out much more than the others. And I like the fact that you see an evil Goku. And yes, they don't really say that they're actually related, which it doesn't really make sense because I could kind of understand if he was perhaps Goku's, I don't know, brother or his cousin or something, because they look like they're the same age and they look exactly alike. But Turles is actually a pretty cool villain too, and it's great to see what Goku, which I think the movie was going for, what Goku could have been if he was actually evil, and it actually works. So I like that concept. Of course, I have to put Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, on this list. There is literally no other character in DBZ history who has just tore through the DBZ characters the way Broly has. And in this movie, the character is just freaking awesome. It's fast. I mean, yes, the story is a little slow to get into, but the story is actually pretty interesting. And the soundtrack is off the chain. Love it. But what makes this movie much more epic is the fact that you have another Saiyan named Broly who ends up achieving a whole new level of power and is just kicking the crap out of everybody. So in terms of brutality, we got that. Now, one movie I will say that I was thoroughly impressed with and really enjoyed, it actually bumped it up to like my top 3 DBZ films, is Battle of Gods. I actually thought that was a great movie. It has a lot of humor and it had an interesting story. And the bad guy, the main antagonist, Beerus. And that's one thing about Beerus is he's the only character, the only villain in any of the movies that actually has personality. He, yes, he is the god of destruction and he will just kill people on a whim, but I love that at times he can be humorous, at times he can be over dramatic, and I love that about his character. Also, I love the fight sequences and the concept of the Super Saiyan God and how they utilize the CGI with the regular animation style. Just makes for a very good looking film as well as an enjoyable one. Another film, which I thought was actually pretty good, could have been better, will admit, but there was a lot that I did like about it, and that is Resurrection F. In Resurrection F, Frieza returns and is coming back to Earth for revenge. And yes, there's some elements I wish could have been done a little bit better, but it's actually a pretty awesome movie. You get to see some of the Z fighters actually take action as they fight Frieza's armies, who is trying to wage war on Earth. And I love that whole big extended fight sequence. You got Krillin, you got TN, Piccolo, Gohan. It's great to see these characters, and I love the fact that even though they're like, I usually love the whole fast-paced punching aspect of it, the fast-paced martial arts. I love how to utilize the martial arts into the fight styles a little bit more to make the martial arts stand out a little bit more, and I think they did a great job with that. Yeah, I wish Master Roshi wasn't in the film, and it would have been more, I don't know, 18 being badass, because 18 is a badass character. But I'm not going to hold that out on this video. But it's actually a pretty interesting concept. And I like the fact that, yes, one of the bad guys actually manages to ascend to a new level, kind of like the Super Saiyans and stuff. And even though the story kind of doesn't really support it, but it's actually an interesting idea. And I do, for the most part, like it. And I also like the fact that Beerus and Whis makes a return. Because again, their chemistry is gold. And they just come up with just the funniest lines. Also, Cooler's Revenge. Cooler is a badass character. Really wish that he would have made an entrance into the actual series. Cooler, for those who don't know, is Frieza's older brother. He's more badass. He's got a more of a mean temper, and he actually has this new level, which is completely badass. I mean, you've seen when Frieza transformed in the series, we got really big and bulky compared to his really diminutive first form. Yeah, Cooler does the exact same thing, but his form does look a little cooler. I know they gonna play on words, but yes, Cooler is coming to Earth to kick Goku's butt because he killed his brother. So, and we get this really cool fight sequence. We get more supporting characters, and even Cooler's henchmen are actually pretty interesting, cool characters too. But Cooler's Revenge is actually a really good stand-up movie itself, and I like the direction that the movie takes. Of course, you got to take a little step back and go back in the time machine, back to the world's strongest, where you get a bit of a mixture of that transition between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and the world's strongest. You got this scientist that is in this machine, where his brain is in this machine, and he's supposedly the smartest man in the world. So what he is planning to do is he's planning to take over the body of Master Roshi, because at the time Master Roshi was the strongest man in the world. But then he ends up, because of his isolation and imprisonment, he doesn't know that Goku is actually now the strongest person in the world. So he's planning to take over Goku's body and combine the strongest body in the world as well as the strongest mind. And this is a really interesting concept, a really interesting and original concept, mind you. I love the direction, I love the fight, and I love the characters that are in it. Had a lot of great humor, but I just like the fact it was a very interesting idea compared to, you know, them fighting otherworldly creatures or demons or, you know, cyborgs that have a power of like 20 million. But it's actually a pretty cool and entertaining movie in itself. We got to go back to the Cooler bit again, because we got the return of Cooler. And yes, the tone of it is a little bit different because Cooler now is an android. But I just love the film because not only is the fight sequences pretty intense and fast paced, but it's a really cool idea. I mean, like, where does Akira Toriyama get these ideas from? But it's just a great and awesome movie. And of course, Vegeta actually gets his little moment, which I do like. You got the father of Goku, where you get to see Bardock, Goku's dad, and what led up to the events of the destruction of Vegeta and Goku being sent to Earth. Bardock is a badass, and I really would have wished that they would have met in the series. Of course, again, we have Dead Zone. Love Dead Zone. Garlic Jr. is one of my favorite characters. He actually has he does actually have personality and a good, understandable, motivating factor behind him. So I do like that. But I do like the fight sequences in it, and the characters. They're just off the chain. I love how, for as menacing as they are, at times they're really goofy. And I do like that. Again, this is one of those films that's transitioning from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. But the films, those are like my favorite films. I have to go ahead and just talk about my favorite video games. Of course, Budokai 3 is on this list. Budokai 3 is one of the most badass fighting video games till this freaking day. And it's just fast paced. I love the transformation sequences. And I'm one of those gamers that likes to pit the CPUs together, and I love watching that action too. So I'm like, okay, that looks pretty badass. But Budokai 3 is one of those games that just, like, that right there is on its own little level. Loved it. Loved everything about it. The power struggles, the little combo attacks, the ultimates, just everything about Budokai 3 is just freaking phenomenal. The only thing that I could say is a problem with it is they're not introducing new characters from Super and all this other stuff into it as a remake or something. But that's about the only problem I got with it. Of course, I gotta bring in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Loved Budokai Tenkaichi 2, but they're about the same to me. Except that 3 has like 100-something characters. Loved it. I love the 3D environment because playing that game is what got me into playing like Naruto Ultimate Ninja, where you're actually circling around an arena to fight an opponent. And I think that the destruction factor just gave you so much freedom, and it definitely established a great handhold in the fighting game genre. And I think it did a great job as far as the future Dragon Ball Z installments, which I will jump to, of course. Battle of Z, yes, Battle of Z had its share of problems, but I can say when I got used to the controls and how the buttons worked and everything, and how the movement and things work, well, when the camera wasn't a little wonky, I actually found it to be a very fast-paced and enjoyable game. I love Battle of Z. I like the fact that you get access to all of these characters. The missions were actually pretty cool, and I love that what makes it stand out is the 4-on-4 combat. When it's at its best, it works. It's fun and it's enjoyable. Sometimes you can have 2 or 3 people jumping you at one time, or sometimes when you're down and out, you're like, oh, one of my companions come hurry up and get me up before I die. But it's actually pretty cool, and it's, like I said, just a great and enjoyable experience. That's one thing I do like about it, is that game does focus a little bit, it focuses on teamwork, whether that's online or offline. And when I went online with it, I was surprised at how enjoyable the gameplay was too, because I'm not really an online player like that. when it comes to games like that. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the, if somebody's down, you go help them, or you can boost up their energy or their health or something like that. And I thought that was a great, just a great overall gameplay experience. And not to mention when you actually jumping somebody and the combo meter is there, and then you finish them off with an ultimate, priceless. Shin Budokai, another role for the PSP. I really enjoyed that game too. It felt like, it really did feel like Budokai 3 in a lot of ways. But I loved how seamlessly the animation, art style, and the combat and the gameplay was to the PSP. So it was a great experience on the road. Love that game. I wish I had it now, but I don't. Of course, I gotta go back to the Game Boy to Boo's Fury, the third installment in the Legacy of Goku. I love the game. Yes, it's open world. Yes, it does feel a little bit limited, but it's nice to see Dragon Ball Z in a more RPG-like aspect. You play with multiple characters, and I just thought it was. Yes, the game feels like it was made for kids, but I liked it. It was actually enjoyable. I liked the way the story went. They introduced. They try to put the movies into the game, so that way you can play certain characters against certain characters from the movies. And I thought it was okay. I actually thought it was a fun game. And out of all the 3 Legacy of Goku games, I guess you could say that one is my favorite. But I did like it. And if they did continue the series, I think they did have another one, but it was like in the GT era. But I don't know because I didn't play it. And of course, the one Dragon Ball Z game that started them all, in my opinion, is Final Bout from '97. Great game. It was awesome. Yes, it's a little bit slower compared to the Dragon Ball Z games of now, but it actually set a really good tone as far as the actual fighting mechanics. And I like the game. It's badass. I think there was even a moment when I was playing it where you can play against like a giant, like one of the great apes or something like that. I could be wrong. It's been a while. But I do remember there was a fun game. And went back and looked up some of the gameplay. I was like, yeah, man, I do remember playing that game. Specifically Frieza. Frieza was one of my favorite characters. Goku level 4 was one of my favorite characters. Well, I'm going to say level 4, Super Saiyan 4. But, yes, it was actually a pretty good game. Now, I have read some of the manga. I don't really own much, but my favorite volume in the entire series, in my opinion, it's just me, is volume 26. And that's when, they're in the final stages of fighting Kid Buu. And I really loved it. You know what I mean? I don't really collect them like that, but I thought that was great. Yes, the presentation was a bit different from the television series, which I ain't gonna lie, that did take me back a step. But I actually when I was reading it, I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. I like the presentation of the fight sequences. I like how they did transition to Vegeta's thoughts and where it left off in terms of the actual series. Thought it was really good. It was a really great read, and I liked it. I liked it for the most part. But maybe I should go back and collect more of the actual manga. But maybe I will, and maybe I don't know. Now I will say one of my 2 of the games that I do want to check out are Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, and it's a new one that was coming out. Fighter Z looked really good also. And hopefully when I play those games, I can actually come back and add that to this and talk about it. But I think for the most part that I actually appreciated what I saw in them. I did play a couple of more, but I don't want to talk about them because I didn't really like them too much. And this is actually the video for the best, so I'm gonna go with the best. But I guess that's it. Actually, guys, in the comment section below, let me know what your thoughts are on, the best of the Dragon Ball Z franchise. Did you agree with the anime series? Did you agree with the movies? Also, did you agree with the video games? If you're a collector of the manga, let me know in the comment section below which one of the volumes is your favorite. I wanted to say I kind of wanted to put the Future Trunks story movie in here too, And I kind of wanted to, if I ever got a chance to go back and watch it, it's the one where you have what's the one movie, the quote unquote movie they had for the one game where they had that bad guy Hatchenbach, was it Ultimate Tenkaichi? I don't know. But I need to actually go back and see if there's actually a movie. But like I said, guys, just let me know what your thoughts are on let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Also, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what's going on here on the Narik channel. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.